Well, I guess the only question I want answered is, from February until the job site was shut down due to carbon dioxide levels being too high, who made that decision for us to continue to work in this environment?
No, we don't see that we have a problem with that.
Yeah, because you weren't working in here.
You had one snapshot reading, 9:30 in the morning, six workers. Six workers. You can look through our logbook. We usually had almost double that working in here. And mathematically...
I'm not here to argue about that.
I'm not either. You have never asked me about it. You've never spoken
So
to me
7,000 parts per million is acceptable levels for people to be working in this environment 8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Is anyone ever going to talk to me about it?
You literally are poisoning us. I lost consciousness 3 times working in this building, and you're telling me you're not going to respond to my question?
I don't know how to respond.
You just tell me who made the decision then to allow this to continue, because somebody had to make the decision when that time that report came out, and then Sigrid was asking for it, and you hid it from her, and continued to allow us to work in here for 2 months, poisoning everybody. Can you see my anger? Can you at least justify my anger is justified that I was poisoned on purpose? Knowingly. So somebody in the chain of command said, yes, poison them people.
That's not exactly how it went down.
Oh, so it was okay, somebody in the chain of command then said, it's acceptable level of poison for these people to work in.
No, they said we don't know how much they're being poisoned. We're not going to bother to figure it out, and they'll be the guinea pigs.
Oh, so we're guinea pigs.
There was a recommendation that there was a full assessment to be done to make sure we had adequate air exchange. That was internal in your organization. And you decided not to follow your agency's recommendation to make sure that we had enough oxygen. That's the fact. That decision was made by somebody. And so we worked in levels, we don't know how high they were. They could have well been over OSHA levels. Yes, because OSHA levels is 10,000 parts per minute, or a maximum of 3 minutes a day, 3 spikes of it. It's not for continuous exposure. It's not for exposure over long periods of time. It's for peaking in like an industrial situation working with like dry ice. So people would have these maximum exposures 3 times a day, but it's not about continuous exposure. Your lawyers are telling you otherwise. It's not the case. And we have a right to know if we're being exposed. There are people in here with all kinds of medical conditions. They should know. Risk of stroke. Do you know how we could have had someone die in here, Duane? In fact, we almost did have someone die because of what happened.
You're telling me it's acceptable.
I'm telling you, I'm not judging you.
You're what?
I'm not an expert in that area.
But you didn't
You're in charge, right?
You're
in chain of command, correct?
I'm in charge. I'm at the top of the chain of command.
Okay, so somebody below you made that decision.
And someone was given like permission to make that decision.
Okay, so what I know so far now is nobody's lost their job and been demoted for this fiasco in the first place, for not following simple law. Nobody's lost their job and been demoted. And now you're saying nobody's going to get in trouble for poisoning us on purpose. It was on purpose. Yes, knowingly, that's on purpose in my book. You want to argue semantics, we can. But you poisoned me.
If she asked for the emails, several times when we work with her, I see that as being hiding information because that's how it seems to me. And and I was working here. I have medical issues that I thought were reoccurring. So it would have been nice to know this rather than to try to correct stuff on my own and have my doctor try to figure out what's going on because we don't know what's going on because everything seems normal with my blood count and everything, but there was something going on. So to me, when she said that there were emails that she requested and they weren't being given to her and at the end they were denied, that seems to me that was being hidden. So that is hurtful to me as working here, and
The air in here was so bad where we're lethargic, so tired after the fact of working here 4 hours, I would literally crawl into a cot over there and fall asleep, and I could have fucking died. And you're saying, knowingly you did it was okay. What's that?
I can't respond to that.
And my
Who can respond to the fact that they tried poisoning
No
us?
one ever talked to me about this as a shutdown. I was shut out at every meeting. I tried assiduously to contact and be involved and say what I knew. And I was shut out. Time and time again, that door was slammed in my face. Then I get a letter from your lawyer saying I was given explicit directions and I refused to follow them. So a lie was created. That's part of the public record now. And meanwhile, we had people who were really sick in here, Duane. If you want to go in the office, I've written it all down, every single person. And we don't even know all the other stuff.
We have our data too from mornings to afternoons, and it dropped by 75%.
Every afternoon.
20 wheelbarrows done by lunch, 5 in the afternoon. Why is that? We couldn't do it. And there were 9, 10, 11, 12 people in here at that time.
Up to 12.
Purposely making us sick.
Every day, our numbers were skewed. You'd think you'd be warmer in here in the afternoons and stuff. You'd be okay. We were getting sick. All of us.
And when I interviewed people and I asked them, some people, like, what for you was the hardest? They said the hardest thing for me was that I was blaming myself. And that I knew I was trying to recover my ancestors and I couldn't concentrate or focus. And I know I missed stuff. And I carry that guilt. So even more than people feel sometimes upset about like how they were affected, we all, to a person, feel pretty terrible about our quality of work during that time, when we feel it's the most important work we've ever done, and we did it poorly. Even though we tried our best. And it was the same with Liesl working here. You know,
So you can't comment on why the report wasn't released to Sigrid?
I don't know.
You're in charge.
so are you investigating that, Duane?
That is literally an assault on me and assault on my fellow coworkers.
If you're on the top, are you investigating how that happened, that they decided not to share that with me? Do you want to see all my emails to them? Okay, I'll forward them all to you. You'll be pretty shocked.
And the first I heard that you were requesting it was black in the report.
Something's wrong. And
Well, why should we have even requested that? It should have just
Why don't
simply
we
been
just
provided
Explain,
to us.
my understanding was when the industrial hygienist was here, he explained exactly what he did, what he found, what his recommendations were. My understanding was that was explained to Sigrid the day that he was here.
he told me that he was concerned about some of the levels, but that he would give me a full report in the next week, and then we could go on to the next step. He did not show me numbers. He didn't give me a printout. He didn't write anything down. He just said, I'm going to give you some more information. And then I asked repeated emails. How many times should I turn this fan on? Because we were turn it on in the morning and in the afternoon, and if you see any dust. And so I said, maybe we should put a timer on it. Oh no, that's not necessary. You can see if it's dusty, you just turn the fan on. I did not receive explicit directions, and I asked over and over, how many times a day should I turn this switch on? How should we be managing air quality? Should we be hiring more people if we don't know what it is? Can you send me the report? Okay, you can't send me the report. Could you send me recommendations? I brought it up in working group meetings. And I stupidly thought that if things were dangerous and unsafe and above, acceptable levels, that somebody would have told me because I'm the employer.
So the
Why in
report,
the world would I ever have imagined that if things were unsafe, you would be hiding that information from you? It's unconscionable, and I don't think that way. Because I don't think that way, I can't imagine other people thinking that way.
But someone did think that way.
Numerous people did.
so along your chain of command, somebody made the decision to think it's okay to poison us. Because it is poison, because after 1,100 parts per million, neurological activity drops precipitously. All right? And so we're running at least 3,500 with 6, and double that if we're doubling the population in here.
Plus, through the day, consistently.
Gets worse.
we see
Turn the fan
reduction.
on, you get rid of the heat, these turn on, that's open flame, that's less oxygen for us to breathe.
And we don't even know if that was flushing out the carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is heavier than air.
And I'm laying in it, falling asleep, and somebody in your office made a decision, say it's okay for me to be falling asleep in this.
Or
Could have
falling asleep
died.
while he's working. People falling asleep while they're working. That's more than drowsiness. That's called narcosis.
Great. Any other topics?
So nobody's been demoted, nobody's been fired for causing this in the whole first place, this whole multi-million-dollar mistake.
Have a great day.
Yeah, is it just because they're Indians? That's all I can assume because you just walked away from me.
Can't talk about this anymore. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.